The galaxy had existed for countless ages. Thousands of civilizations had emerged from their worlds, constructed vessels, and journeyed across the void. They encountered one another, some forming alliances, others becoming adversaries. Across millions of years, they established a shared system known as the Galactic Conclave. The Conclave operated on simple principles: power commanded, weakness obeyed. This arrangement remained unquestioned and unchanged. Dominant civilizations claimed what they desired while subordinate ones provided what was requested. Conflicts occurred occasionally but remained controlled and limited. Every civilization understood its position. Leading this hierarchy stood the Vroth Empire. These towering beings reached 3 meters in height, possessed stone-like gray skin, small crimson eyes, 4 arms, and 2 legs. Their dominion over their region had persisted for 50 millennia. None had defeated them in combat, none had attempted such a feat in ages. The Vroth considered themselves supreme among galactic civilizations. Their conviction stemmed from the absence of evidence to the contrary. Their vessels were enormous, their armaments devastating, their warriors fearless. When the Vroth desired something, they seized it. When defied, they obliterated the defiant. This defined their existence and always had. Then humanity emerged. Earth was a modest azure sphere on the galaxy's periphery. Humans had only recently mastered interstellar travel. Their vessels were compact and sluggish, their weapons inferior by galactic measures. They possessed neither allies nor protectors, alone in a cosmos beyond their comprehension. Initial contact between humans and the Conclave occurred quietly. A human exploration craft encountered a Mallory trading vessel. The Mallory were peaceful merchants who educated the humans about galactic affairs, cautioned them about the Vroth, and counseled prudence. Seek protection from a powerful civilization, the Mallory captain advised. Offer tribute, display deference. Avoid attention. This ensures survival for minor civilizations. But humans were peculiar creatures. They rejected being labeled insignificant and opposed the concept of paying tribute. Their history consisted of struggling for freedom. After millennia of internal conflict, they had only recently achieved unity. Now they gazed at the cosmos with ambitious eyes. Humanity expanded rapidly. Within 50 years they established settlements on 20 worlds, constructed orbital stations, and developed asteroid mining operations. They traded with willing partners, absorbed new technologies and enhanced them. Their strength increased annually. The Vroth observed with interest. In the Grand Hall of the Vroth homeworld, the High Council convened. The chamber could accommodate 10,000 Vroth. Yet only the 12 council members attended. They encircled a holographic display presenting human territories. Their expansion accelerates too quickly, Commander Drathok declared. As military commander, he bore scars from countless campaigns. They demonstrate no proper deference. They behave as equals to civilizations existing for millions of years. They remain juveniles. Another member responded, barely emerged from infancy. Grant them time. They will discover their position, or we shall educate them, Drathok countered. Now, before they become problematic. Supreme Leader Malachar, who had governed for 3 centuries, listened silently. He had witnessed numerous civilizations rise and fall, personally destroying some. What intelligence do we possess regarding these humans? Malachar inquired. A scientist approached. Physically fragile. Soft bodies. Brief lifespans, approximately 80 to 100 years. They require specific environmental conditions: oxygen, water, moderate temperatures. By every metric, they are inferior beings. Their technology remains primitive. Their vessels are slow, their weapons feeble. Their defensive shields would collapse against our weakest attack craft. Malachar contemplated silently. Then why present them to my attention, Drathok? Drathok rose. Because their behavior contradicts their weakness. They refuse submission. When our scouts enter their territory, they transmit warnings rather than greetings. They order our vessels to depart. They presume to command the Vroth. Murmurs rippled through the council. Such conduct was extraordinary. Perhaps they remain ignorant of our identity. Someone suggested. They possess knowledge, Drathok stated. The Mallory and others have informed them. They understand our power and history. Yet they persist in refusing respect. They conduct themselves as our peers. Malachar reached his decision. Then we shall educate them. Drathok, assemble a fleet. Destroy their peripheral settlements. Eliminate sufficient numbers to ensure understanding. When they plead for clemency, we shall impose terms. They will provide tribute for a millennium. They will serve the Empire. Drathok smiled unpleasantly. My pleasure, Supreme Leader. The Vroth fleet assembled covertly. 100 warships, each surpassing anything humans had constructed, each carrying weapons capable of reducing cities to ash within seconds, each crewed by Vroth warriors who had never experienced defeat. They traversed space toward human territory over 3 days. On the 4th day, they reached the human settlement called New Hope, one of humanity's largest extraterrestrial communities, home to 3 million people. The Vroth issued no warnings and requested no surrender. They simply materialized in orbit and commenced firing. The colony possessed minimal defenses. Several small patrol vessels attempted resistance and were destroyed instantly. Orbital stations fell next, followed by harbor vessels, then surface cities. The assault lasted 2 hours. When concluded, New Hope lay in ruins. 2 million perished. Survivors fled in whatever craft they could locate. Some escaped, many did not. The Vroth recorded everything and transmitted the footage to every conclave civilization. This demonstrates the consequence of disrespecting the Vroth Empire. The message stated, "May this instruct all." The galaxy observed in silence. This represented standard procedure, the powerful punishing the weak, who learned their position. Tragic, yet normal. But the Vroth continued their campaign. They will surrender now, Malachar predicted. All weak civilizations surrendered after the initial blow. But humans did not surrender. Instead, they deployed warships to defend their remaining settlement. These vessels were small and obsolete, standing no chance against the Vroth fleet. Yet they came regardless. They fought regardless. The Vroth destroyed them easily, but more arrived. And more. Humans continued fighting despite hopelessness. They continued dying when surrender would have preserved them. This bewildered the Vroth. Weak civilizations did not behave this way. They are foolish, Drathok reported to the council. They squander lives in futile resistance. But we eliminate them efficiently. Soon they will lack vessels. And then, Malachar asked. Then we approach their homeworld. We demonstrate true devastation. Afterward, they will break. The campaign persisted for 6 months. The Vroth advanced from settlement to settlement. Each time humans fought. Each time humans lost. The Vroth killed millions, destroyed cities, burned agricultural areas and industrial facilities, showed no mercy. The galaxy continued observing. Some civilizations pitied the humans. The Malori sent sympathetic messages. Others offered diplomatic mediation, but none provided direct assistance. No vessels or soldiers. That was not how things functioned. Eventually, the Vroth fleet reached Earth. Humanity's homeworld appeared beautiful from space. Azure oceans, verdant lands, white clouds, it seemed peaceful and fragile. Malachar himself attended this final act. He stood on his flagship's bridge, gazing at the planet below. Billions inhabit that world, his aide reported. Their origin world, their sacred place. Surely they will surrender now to preserve it. Send the terms, Malachar commanded. The message departed. Humanity was ordered to surrender unconditionally, disband all military forces, pay perpetual tribute, deliver their leaders to the Vroth homeworld in chains. In exchange, the Vroth would permit their survival. The humans requested 1 hour for consideration. Malachar granted it confidently. He had witnessed this previously. When confronted with total annihilation, every civilization surrendered. This was natural order. 1 hour passed, then 2, then 3. Where is their response? Malachar demanded. His communications officer appeared confused. They are not responding, Supreme Leader. No communication originates from the planet whatsoever. What? They have gone silent. All broadcasts ceased. All signals stopped. As if the entire planet shut down. Malachar experienced a strange sensation. It took him moments to recognize it. Uncertainty. He had not felt uncertain in ages. They are planning something, Drathok suggested. Perhaps assembling their remaining forces for a final stand. That would be suicidal. These humans seem comfortable with suicide. Malachar considered his options. He could commence planetary bombardment immediately. Standard protocol. But something about the silence troubled him. Wait, he commanded. Grant them 1 additional day. 1 day elapsed, then another, then a week. The humans remained silent. No communications, no departing or arriving vessels. The planet appeared unchanged, yet nothing emerged from it, not a single signal. After 2 weeks, Malachar's patience expired. Begin the bombardment. The Vroth fleet opened fire. The initial wave struck major cities. Explosions bloomed across the planetary surface. Millions died within seconds. The Wrath continued firing for 3 consecutive days, targeting military installations, government buildings, factories, population centers. When they finally ceased, much of Earth's surface burned. Cities had become craters, forests had become ash. The death toll was incalculable. "It is accomplished," Dothuk reported. "Their civilization is destroyed. Any survivors will be scattered and broken. They will never threaten anyone again." Malachar observed the ruined world below, feeling satisfied. Another civilization had learned its position. Another example had been established. "Send word to the conclave," he ordered. "The human problem has been resolved. Let all civilizations remember the consequence of defying the Wrath Empire." The message transmitted across the galaxy, civilizations received it with resignation. Another young civilization crushed, sad, yet unsurprising. The powerful ruled. The weak perished. This was the way of things. But something was wrong. 3 days following the bombardment's conclusion, a Mallory trader passing through the system detected something unusual. Vessels were departing Earth, not from the surface but from beneath it, from underground. The trader watched, confused, as hundreds of vessels emerged from concealed locations across the planet. They rose from beneath mountains, from under oceans, from inside hollow asteroids positioned in orbit. The vessels were unlike anything the Mallory had witnessed. They were angular and dark, moving with impossible speed and precision. They gathered in orbit around the wounded Earth, forming a massive formation. The trader sent a message to any recipients. "Something is occurring at Earth. The humans, they are not dead. They are emerging." This message was intercepted by everyone, including the Wrath. Malachar received the report with disbelief. "Impossible. We destroyed them. We burned their world." "Apparently not completely," Dothuk replied. "They had concealed forces underground. We failed to detect them." "How? How could they hide something this extensive from our sensor?" "I do not know, but they did." Malachar experienced that strange sensation again. Uncertainty, and something else. Something that might have been fear. "How many vessels?" he asked. "Our scouts report thousands, more emerging hourly. Thousands. They possessed only a few hundred previously. They have more now. Many more. And they are different from before, larger, more advanced. We do not recognize the designs." Malachar stood silently for an extended moment. He had ruled the Empire for 3 centuries, destroyed countless enemies. He had never felt fear. He told himself he was not afraid now. "It does not matter," he finally said. "We have 100 warships here, each worth 1,000 of their vessels. Whatever they have constructed, we will destroy it. Prepare for battle." The Wrath fleet arranged itself for combat. Weapons energized, shields activated. Warriors prepared. On Earth's surface, in a bunker that survived the bombardment, a human woman stood before a communication screen. Her name was Admiral Ch. She had commanded Earth's defense for the past year, watched millions of her people die, ordered retreats from unwinnable battles, hidden and planned and waited while the Wrath burned her world. Now, finally, she was ready. "All vessels," she said, her voice calm and cold. "This is Admiral Ch. For 1 year we have suffered. We have died. We have lost friends and family and everything we held dear. We did this so we could prepare, so we could build, so we could survive." She paused, her eyes hard as stone. "Now our preparation is complete. Now we stop hiding. Now we stop running." She looked at the tactical display showing the Wrath fleet. 100 warships that had killed millions of humans. 100 warships that thought they had won. "Today," Admiral Chen continued, "we begin our answer. Today we show the Wrath and the galaxy what humanity truly is. Today we begin our retaliation." She gave the order. "All vessels attack." The human fleet moved. Thousands of dark vessels surged forward toward the Wrath, moving with terrible speed and perfect coordination. They did not slow down. They did not hesitate. The Wrath opened fire. Their weapons were powerful. They had destroyed countless enemies with these weapons, but the human vessels did not fall. Their shields absorbed hits that should have torn them apart. Their armor deflected blasts that should have burned through steel. They kept coming closer, fast, and then they fired back. The galaxy watched. The entire galaxy watched. As the battle began, they expected to see the humans destroyed, expected the Wrath to win easily, as they always did. What they saw instead made them go still. What they saw instead was impossible. What they saw instead changed everything. The first Wrath warship died before anyone understood what was happening. It was a destroyer called the Crushing Might, serving the Empire for 2 centuries, winning 37 battles, never taking serious damage, never facing an enemy it could not defeat. A single human vessel targeted it. The human vessel was smaller, perhaps 1/3 the size of the crushing might. By all logic, by all experience, the human vessel should have been destroyed in seconds. Instead, the human vessel fired once. A beam of white light shot across. It was not like any weapon the Vroth had seen before, not a laser or plasma bolt or missile. It was something else, something new. The beam struck the crushing might's shields. The shields, which had survived countless battles, lasted for exactly 1.3 seconds. Then they failed. The beam continued through the hull, burned through armor that was supposed to be impenetrable, passed through the vessel from one end to the other. The crushing might broke apart. 2,000 Vroth warriors died without understanding what killed them. On the flagship's bridge, Commander Drothuk watched in disbelief. What was that? What weapon is that? No one could answer. More human vessels fired. More beams of white light filled the space around Earth. More Vroth warships began to die. The Vroth returned fire with everything they had. Their weapons were still powerful, still hit their targets, but the human shields held. Shot after shot struck the human vessels. The shields flickered but did not fall. The vessels kept coming. They kept firing. Their shields should not be able to stop our weapons, a Vroth scientist reported. The mathematics do not work. This should not be possible. And yet it is happening, Drothuk replied through gritted teeth. Supreme Leader Malachar watched the battle from his throne. His face showed nothing, but inside he felt something he had not felt in centuries. Truth, the kind of fear that comes when everything you believe is proven wrong. The humans were not supposed to be able to do this. They were a young civilization, had primitive technology, were weak and soft and fragile. Everything the Vroth knew told them that humans were inferior, that they would break easily, that they would surrender. Instead, the humans were destroying the mightiest fleet in the galaxy. In the first hour of battle, the Vroth lost 23 warships. They managed to destroy only 5 human vessels. This was an impossible ratio. The Vroth always won by overwhelming margins, always crushed their enemies with ease. Now they were being crushed instead. We must retreat, Drothuk advised, his voice heavy with shame. He had never suggested retreat before, had never imagined he would need to. Malachar hesitated. Retreat would mean admitting defeat. The Vroth did not admit defeat. They had not lost a major battle in 10,000 years. If they retreated now, the galaxy would know. The galaxy would see that the Vroth could be beaten. Supreme Leader Drothuk pressed. If we stay, we will lose everything. Our fleet will be destroyed. We will have nothing left to defend the Empire. Malachar closed his eyes. When he opened them, they burned with humiliation and rage. Sound the retreat. The order went out. The remaining Vroth vessels, 67 of them now, began to turn. They activated their jump drives to escape from this nightmare, but the humans were not finished. Admiral Chen watched from her command vessel as the Vroth tried to run. Her face was still calm, her voice still cold, but inside something burned. A fire that had started when the first human settlement died. A fire that had grown with every death, every loss, every moment of hiding and waiting and preparing. They are attempting to escape, her aide reported. I see them. Do we let them go? Admiral Chen thought of New Hope. 3 million people. Her sister had lived there with her family, 2 children ages 6 and 9. They had burned with everyone else. She thought of the other settlements, 14 million dead. She had known some personally, friends from the academy, former crew members, people who had laughed and loved and hoped for the future. She thought of Earth. The bombardment, that lasted 3 days. The cities turned to ash. Her parents had lived in Beijing. The Vroth had hit Beijing in the first hour. No, she said. We do not let them go. The human fleet spread out. Vessels moved to block the Vroth escape routes. Jump drives were targeted and destroyed. One by one, the retreating vessels were caught and eliminated. It took 3 more hours. When it was done, only 12 Vroth vessels remained. They were surrounded, their weapons depleted, their shields failing. Admiral Chen opened a communication channel. Vroth fleet, this is Admiral Chen of the Human Defense Force. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. Your supreme leader will surrender to me personally. Any resistance will result in immediate destruction. On his flagship, Malachar heard the message. His hands shook with rage. He had ruled for 3 centuries. He had never surrendered to anyone. Supreme Leader, Drothuk said quietly. If we surrender, perhaps we can negotiate. Perhaps we can save our people. The Vroth do not surrender. The Vroth have never faced anything like this. Malachar looked around his bridge. His warriors, proud and strong, stood waiting for his decision. They would fight if he ordered it. They would die if he ordered it. That was their loyalty. But what purpose would their death serve? The battle was lost. The fleet was destroyed. If they all died here, there would be nothing left to protect the homeworld. The supreme leader of the Vroth Empire, who had never bent his knee to anyone, spoke the words that broke his heart. We surrender. The news spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. On the Mallory homeworld, the High Merchant watched the reports in stunned silence. He had lived for 400 years, seen many things. He had never seen the Vroth surrender. This cannot be real, he whispered. His aide nodded slowly. It is confirmed by multiple sources. 88 Vroth warships destroyed. The Supreme Leader captured. The humans have won. But how? They were nothing. They were just a young civilization with primitive vessels. How could they defeat the Vroth? We do not know. No one knows. The humans are not talking. The High Merchant felt a chill run through him. He had advised the humans once, through the captain who first contacted them. He had told them to pay tribute and show respect, that this was how small civilizations survived. They had not listened, and now they had done the impossible. What does this mean? His aide asked. The High Merchant had no answer. The rules of the galaxy, the rules that had existed for millions of years, had suddenly changed. The strong no longer ruled simply because they were strong. The weak were no longer weak just because everyone thought they were. Everything was different now. On 100 worlds, the story was the same. Civilizations that had bowed to the Vroth for millennia watched in disbelief. Civilizations that had paid tribute and offered submission saw that such things were not inevitable. Civilizations that had given up hope began to feel something they had forgotten. Hope itself. But there was also fear, because if the humans could defeat the Vroth, what else could they do? What would they do next? The humans answered that question 3 days later. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of her command vessel, the Vengeance. They had left Earth's orbit, gathered their fleet, resupplied and repaired and prepared. Admiral, her communications officer reported, we are receiving transmissions from many civilizations. They want to know our intentions. They want to negotiate. Tell them our intentions will become clear soon enough. Tell them there is nothing to negotiate. Some are offering assist, the Mallory, the Trilon. Others, they want to help us. Chen's eyes narrowed. Where was their help when our settlements burned? Where was their assistance when the Vroth bombarded our world? They sat and watched. They said nothing. They did nothing. They were afraid. Yes, and now they are afraid again. Good, let them be afraid. She turned to her tactical officer. Set course for the Vroth Empire. We begin the next phase. The officer hesitated. Admiral, our intelligence suggests the Vroth have many more vessels in their home territory. We caught their expeditionary fleet by surprise, but their full military is still intact. We will be facing far greater numbers. I am aware, we could wait, build more vessels, prepare more thoroughly. No, Chen's voice was hard. We waited once. We hid and prepared while they killed our people. We gave them time to think, time to adjust. We will not make that mistake again. We hit them now while they are confused, while they are afraid. We do not stop until this is finished. Understood, Admiral. The human fleet jumped into hyperspace, 3,000 vessels moving together toward the heart of the Vroth Empire. In the depths of that empire, on the Vroth homeworld, chaos reigned. The news of the defeat had arrived before the survivors did. At first no one believed. Surely the reports were wrong. Surely the mighty Vroth fleet had not been destroyed by humans, by those soft, weak, short-lived creatures. Then the 12 surviving vessels limped home. Then Supreme Leader Malakar's capture was confirmed. Then the galaxy's broadcasts showed the aftermath of the battle. The wreckage of Vroth warships floating in Earth's orbit. Then the Vroth believed. The High Council gathered in emergency session. Without Malakar, the Council had no clear leader. Power struggles began immediately. Different factions blamed each other for the disaster. Accusations flew. Threats were made. Meanwhile, the military scrambled to organize. The fleet that had attacked Earth was only a portion of Vroth power. They had hundreds more vessels at home. Shipyards that could build more. Millions of trained warriors, but none of that mattered if they could not understand what had happened. How did the humans defeat us? The question was asked 1,000 times. No one had a good answer. The Vroth scientists studied the recordings from the battle, analyzed the human weapons, examined the wreckage of human vessels that had been destroyed. What they found terrified them. The human technology is completely different from anything we know, the lead scientist reported to the council. Their weapons use principles we do not understand. Their shields operate on theories we have not developed. Their vessels are built with materials we have never seen. How is this possible? They were a young civilization. They had nothing. We thought they had nothing. We were wrong. Then where did this technology come from? Did someone give it to them? We found no evidence of that. The technology appears to be human in origin. They developed it themselves. In 50 years they went from primitive rockets to this. In 50 years, it appears so. A counselor slammed his fist on the table. That is impossible. We have existed for hundreds of thousands of years. Our technology has evolved slowly over millennia. No civilization can advance this quickly. The scientist was quiet for a moment. Perhaps we have been wrong about many things. While the Vroth argued, the humans came closer. They hit the first Vroth military base 3 days after leaving Earth. It was a supply station on the Empire's edge, with moderate defenses, 100 small vessels, a few orbital weapons. The human fleet destroyed it in 40 minutes. They did not stop to celebrate. They did not pause to send messages. They simply gathered their vessels and jumped to the next target. The next target was a shipyard, larger and better defended, 200 vessels, powerful shields, thousands of ground-based weapons. The human fleet destroyed it in 2 hours. They kept moving. Another base, another shipyard, another fleet. The Vroth tried to respond. They sent vessels to intercept the humans. Those vessels were destroyed. They set ambushes. The humans detected them and destroyed the ambushers instead. They tried to coordinate a major defense, but the humans were too fast. By the time the Vroth organized, the humans had already hit their target and moved on. In 2 weeks, the humans destroyed 43 military installations, killed 200,000 Vroth warriors, burned shipyards and weapons factories and command centers, and they kept coming. The galaxy watched in silence. No civilization had ever done anything like this. No civilization had ever attacked the Vroth in their home space. No civilization had ever carved a path of destruction through the mightiest empire in the galaxy. The Mallory High Merchant sat in his chamber, receiving reports. Each one was worse than the last. The humans have destroyed the Vroth Third Fleet. The humans have taken the Fortress of Eternal Night. The humans have burned the colony on Drathus Prime. What are they doing? The High Merchant whispered. Why are they doing this? His aide answered quietly. They are doing what we all wished we could do. They are fighting back. But the Vroth attacked them. The war should be over. The humans won. They could negotiate peace now. Take their place in the conclave. Why continue? The aide was silent for a long moment. Perhaps they do not want peace. Perhaps they want something else. What else could they want? I do not know. But I think we should be very careful about finding out. On the Vroth homeworld, the situation grew desperate. The human fleet was getting closer every day. More than half the Empire's military had been destroyed. The remaining vessels were pulled back to defend the homeworld. But everyone knew that if the humans reached them, the outcome was already decided. The High Council finally elected a new leader. Her name was Saravia. She was young for a Vroth leader, only 150 years old. But she was smart and decisive. She had argued against attacking the humans from the beginning. No one had listened then. They were listening now. We must negotiate, she told the council. We must end this war before there is nothing left. Negotiate with humans. We do not negotiate with inferior civilizations. They are not inferior. That much is clear now. They have defeated every force we sent against them. They have technology we do not understand. They are not inferior. They are something else. Then what do you propose? I will send a message. I will offer peace. I will offer to return everything we took from them. I will offer compensation for their dead. I will offer whatever they want. And if they refuse, Saravil's face was grim. Then we will have no choice but to keep fighting until one side is completely destroyed. The message was sent. Saravil herself recorded it. She spoke of peace, spoke of regret for what had happened, spoke of hope for a new relationship between the Vroth and humanity. The message traveled across space to the human fleet. Admiral Chen received it on the bridge of the Vengeance. She played it once, then again. She sat in silence for a long time thinking. Her officers waited. Some hoped she would accept the war could end, the killing could stop, they could go home and rebuild. But when Chen spoke, her voice was cold as the void of space. Send the following response. Your supreme leader killed 60 million of my people. He burned our settlements. He bombarded our homeworld. And now you offer peace. You offer compensation. She paused. Add this. There is no compensation for what you have done. There is no peace we will accept. There is only one thing we want now, and we are coming to take it. Her communications officer hesitated. Admiral, what should I say we want? Chen turned to look at him. In her eyes was something terrible. Something that made even her loyal officers feel afraid. Tell them we want justice. Tell them we are bringing it ourselves. Tell them there is nothing they can do to stop it. The message was sent. The human fleet kept moving. The Vroth prepared for their final stand, and the galaxy, which had watched empires rise and fall for millions of years, fell silent, because they had never seen anything like this, because they did not know what would happen next, because they were beginning to understand that the universe they knew was ending and something new and frightening was being born in its place. The Vroth homeworld was called Vrathus Prime. It was an ancient world, home to the Vroth civilization for 500,000 years. Great cities covered its surface. Massive orbital stations circled above. It was the heart of an empire that had ruled a quarter of the galaxy. Now it was afraid. The human fleet had been cutting through Vroth space for 3 weeks. Every day brought news of another defeat, another installation destroyed, another fleet scattered. The humans did not slow down, did not negotiate, did not accept surrender. New leader Saraviel stood in her command chamber, watching the tactical displays. Red markers showed human positions. Each day those markers moved closer. Each day there were fewer Vroth vessels to stop them. How long until they reach us? She asked. At their current pace, 4 days, her military advisor replied. If they accelerate, perhaps 2. How many vessels do we have left for the defense of Vrathus Prime? We have gathered 800 warships, plus orbital defenses, ground batteries and the planetary shield. Will it be enough? The advisor was quiet. That silence was answer enough. Saraviel closed her eyes. She had studied the humans extensively since taking power, read every report, watched every recording, analyzed every piece of data. She was trying to understand them, trying to find a weakness, trying to find some way to stop what was coming. What she found instead was a civilization, unlike any other. Tell me again, she said. Tell me how they did this. How did they go from primitive vessels to what they have now? The advisor pulled up a timeline. 1 year ago, when we first attacked their settlements, their technology was as we expected. Slow vessels, weak weapons, basic shields. Everything we knew told us they would be easy to defeat. And then they went silent. For 1 Earth year there was no communication from their homeworld. No vessels left. No signals transmitted. We assumed they were broken, assumed they were dying. But they were not dying. No, they were building. The image changed to show captured data from human facility. When our forces finally reached Earth and began the bombardment, we destroyed much of their surface, but we did not know about what was underneath. The display showed vast underground complexes, cities beneath mountains, factories beneath oceans, entire military bases hidden beneath the ground. The humans had been building underground facilities for decades. The advisor continued. Since before they ever contacted other civilizations, they called it preparation for possible extinction events, asteroid impacts, nuclear war. They had planned for worst-case scenarios, but they could not have known we would attack. No, but when we did attack, they adapted. They moved their entire civilization underground. They hid their people, their scientists, their factories, and they built. Built what? Where did their technology come from? The advisor looked uncomfortable. This is where our analysis becomes uncertain. The humans appear to have made technological leaps that should not be possible. Their weapons use energy principles we have not discovered. Their shields employ theories we have not developed. Their vessels are built with materials we cannot identify. That is not an explanation. I know, we have no explanation. The best our scientists can offer is that the humans approached problems differently than we do. They tried things we would consider impossible. They combined technologies in ways we never imagined. And somehow, impossibly, it worked. Saraviel stared at the display. In 1 year, we have existed for 500,000 years. Our technology has advanced slowly over that time. And these creatures in 1 year of desperate construction, created weapons that can destroy our greatest warships. Saraviel felt something she had never experienced before. Not just fear. Something deeper. A realization that everything she believed about the universe was wrong. What are they? She whispered. Far away, moving through space at impossible speed. Admiral Chen asked herself the same question. She sat alone in her quarters on the Vengeance, staring at the wall. The battle plans were complete. The fleet was ready. In 4 days they would reach the Vroth homeworld. In 4 days the war would end. But Chen could not sleep, could not rest. Her mind kept going back to the same question. What have we become? She remembered Earth before the war, the arguments about space exploration, the debates about whether to expand too quickly, the hopeful messages sent to other civilizations, hoping for friendship and cooperation. She remembered her sister's face, The last video call they had shared before the attack. Her niece and nephew laughing in the background, so young, so full of life. She remembered the day she learned they were dead, the cold feeling that spread through her body, the way the world seemed to lose all color. She remembered the decision made in the deepest bunkers beneath Earth's surface, the gathering of humanity's greatest minds. The question asked by the desperate leaders of a dying world: can we fight back? Can we win? And she remembered the answer, the terrible, wonderful, terrifying answer: yes, but it will cost us everything we were. The humans had made a choice. They had looked at the universe and seen that it was cruel. They had seen that the strong crushed the weak. They had seen that kindness was punished and mercy was weakness. And they had decided to become strong. In the underground facilities, human scientists worked with desperate intensity. They tested theories that had been considered impossible. They built machines that should not have functioned. They pushed the boundaries of physics itself. Some experiments failed. Some scientists died. But some experiments succeeded beyond all hope. The breakthrough came from a young physicist named Sarah Park. She had been studying quantum mechanics before the war. When the attacks began, she was moved to a secure facility and told to find a weapon, any weapon that could help. She did not find a weapon, she found something better. Matter does not work the way we thought, she explained to the military leader. Reality itself is more flexible than we believed. With the right approach, we can change the rules. They did not understand. They did not need to understand. They only needed results. Sarah and her team worked for 6 months straight. They barely slept. Barely. Several of them collapsed from exhaustion. But they kept going because above them, their world was burning, because their families were dying, because there was no alternative. On day 183 they succeeded. The first new weapon was tested in a deep underground chamber, a beam of light that did not behave like light, an energy that did not follow normal physics. It struck a target and the target simply stopped existing. The scientists stared in shock. Then they built more. In the shipyards beneath the oceans, human engineers constructed a new fleet. They used materials created in laboratories that had not existed a year before. They installed weapons that would have been science fiction months earlier. They built vessels that were smaller than Vroth warships, but infinitely more deadly. And they trained crews to operate them, volunteers who knew they might not survive, who knew they were going to fight an enemy that had destroyed everything they loved, who did not care about survival, who cared only about revenge. Admiral Chen had been one of those volunteers. She had commanded a small patrol vessel before the war. She had lost her entire family in the first attack. When they asked for people willing to lead the new fleet, she had been the first to step forward. "Do you understand what we are asking?" The general had said. "This is not a defensive mission. This is not a mission of survival. We are asking you to take everything we have built and use it to hurt them, to make them suffer, to show them that attacking Earth was the worst mistake they ever made." Chen had not hesitated. "I understand. Good, because there will be no negotiation, no mercy, no stopping until it is finished. Can you do that?" She had thought of her sister, her niece, her nephew, 2 children who would never grow up. "Yes, I can do that." Now 3 weeks into the campaign, Chen wondered if she had been right. They had killed so many, Roth soldiers, workers, even civilians sometimes when the fighting spread too wide. The destruction they had caused was beyond measuring. And still she felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just cold emptiness, and the burning need to finish what they had started. Is this what we were meant to become? She asked herself. Is this what survival costs? She had no answer. She only had orders. She only had her fleet. She only had the next target. She would think about the rest later if there was a later. On Vrotha's prime, Saraviel made her final preparations. "We cannot defeat them in open battle," she told the council. "Their weapons are too powerful. Their vessels are too fast. If we meet them in space, we will die." "Then what do you suggest? Surrender?" "I suggest we use our planetary defenses. We have the strongest shield in the galaxy. Our ground weapons are the most powerful ever built. If we can survive their initial assault, if we can make them bleed enough, perhaps they will agree to negotiate." "You think they will negotiate?" "I do not know, but we must try. The alternative is extinction." The council agreed because they had no other choice. Orders went out. The fleet positioned itself around the planet. The planetary shield powered up, creating a barrier of energy that had never been breached. Ground batteries targeted the space above, ready to fire. The civilians were moved to shelters. The warriors prepared for battle. The entire Vroth civilization held its breath and waited. 2 days later, the human fleet arrived. They appeared on the edge of the system in a flash of light. 3,000 vessels arranged in perfect formation. They did not rush forward. They did not immediately attack. They simply waited. Saraviel watched them on her display. What are they doing? Unknown leader. They are not moving. An hour passed. Then two. The humans remained in place, their vessels motionless in the darkness. Then a communication came through. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired. Her eyes were cold and empty. But her voice was steady. Vroth, I am Admiral Chen of the Human Defense Force. I am going to give you one chance. One chance only. Saraviel leaned forward. What are your terms? My terms are simple. First, release Supreme Leader Malachar. He is a war criminal. He will be tried for his crimes against humanity and executed. He is already our prisoner. We cannot. Second, disband your military. All of it. Every vessel, every weapon, every soldier. You will have no military for 100 years. Your security will be provided by civilizations you have wronged. Saraviel's face went pale. That is impossible. Without defense, we would be helpless. Third, pay reparations. Every civilization you have ever conquered, ever exploited, ever harmed will be compensated. You will work to pay this debt for 1,000 years if necessary. We cannot accept these terms. They would destroy us. Chen's expression did not change. Fourth, and finally, acknowledge what you did. Admit to the galaxy that you attacked a peaceful civilization without provocation. Admit that you killed 60 million innocent people. Admit that you are not the superior beings you claim to be. Saraviel was silent. The terms were impossible. No Vroth leader could accept them. It would mean the end of everything they were, everything they had built. You are asking us to surrender everything, she said. Yes. Why? What do you gain from our destruction? Chen's eyes flickered. For a moment, something human showed through the cold mask. I gain nothing. My people have already lost everything. We lost our settlements. We lost our city. We lost 60 million lives. I lost my family. There is nothing you can give that will make that right. Then why offer terms at all? Because once, before you made us into what we are now, we believed in mercy. We believed that every civilization deserved a chance to change. We believed in peace. Chen paused. I am giving you one chance because those beliefs meant something to us. Even if they mean nothing to us now. Saraviel heard the truth in her words. The humans had not always been this way. They had been changed, forged in fire and pain and law. What stood before her now was not what humanity had been. It was what the Vroth had created. I need time, Saraviel said. Time to consult with my council. You have 1 hour. Then we begin our attack. And I promise you this. If we have to come through your defenses by force, we will not offer terms again. We will continue until there are no Vroth left alive. The transmission ended. Saraviel turned to her council. Their faces showed fear, anger, denial, all the emotions she felt herself. We cannot accept, one counselor said. These terms would destroy our civilization. Our civilization may be destroyed regardless. Saraviel replied. Then we fight. We die with honor. Honor. Saraviel's voice was sharp. What honor do we have left? We attacked a young civilization for the crime of not bowing to us. We killed millions of innocents. We created the very thing that now threatens to destroy us. Where is the honor in that? The council fell silent. I do not want to accept these terms, Saraviel continued. Every part of me wants to fight. But I must think of our people. Billions of Vroth who had nothing to do with the attack on Earth. Children who never harmed anyone. If we fight and lose, they all die. And if we accept, we become slaves. No, we become what we should have been from the beginning. One civilization among many. Not rulers, not conquerors. Just equals. The hour passed quickly. The council argued. They shouted. They threatened. But in the end they had no choice. Saraviel sent her response. We accept your term, on one condition. Chen's face showed no surprise. What condition? That you accept our surrender now, before the fighting begins. That you spare our civilian population. That you allow us to end this war without more death. Chen was quiet for a long moment. The galaxy watched. Every civilization capable of receiving the broadcast held its breath. Then Chen spoke. No. Saraviel's heart froze. What? I said no. We do not accept your condition. But you offered terms. We accepted. You accepted too late. I told you that you had 1 hour. You took 1 hour and 7 minutes. The offer has expired. 7 minutes. You would kill billions over 7 minutes. Chen's face was hard as stone. You killed millions in seconds. You did not hesitate. You did not offer 7 minutes of mercy. Why should we? Please. I am begging you. Think of our children. I think of children every day. I think of my niece and nephew. They were 6 and 9 years old. They burned in the first attack. They did not get 7 minutes. They did not get 7 seconds. Saraviel felt tears forming in her eyes. Vroth did not cry, but she was crying now. What do you want? Tell me and I will give it to you. Anything. Chen's expression finally changed. Something moved in her empty eyes. Pain. Terrible. Endless pain. I want my family back. I want the 60 million dead to live again. I want to undo what was done to us. I want to be the person I was before you destroyed everything. Her voice cracked. Can you give me that? Saraviel had no answer. I thought not. Chen raised her hand. All vessels begin the attack. The human fleet moved forward. 3,000 vessels of war carrying the fury of a wounded civilization. They headed toward Vrothus Prime and the final battle began. The Battle of Vrothus Prime began at dawn on the planet below. 800 Vroth warships formed a wall between the approaching humans and their homeworld. Behind them the planetary shield glowed with energy. Below, ground batteries tracked targets in space. Everything the Vroth had built over 500,000 years was gathered here, for this final defense. Against them came 3,000 human vessels. Commander Drathak had been released from imprisonment to lead the defense. He had argued against it, told them he was broken, that he no longer trusted himself to command, but there was no one else. The experienced commanders were dead, or captured. Only Drathak remained. He stood on the bridge of his new flagship, watching the human fleet approach. His hands did not shake. His voice did not waver. He had already accepted that he would die today. That made everything else easier. All vessels, hold formation, he ordered. Do not advance. Force them to come to us. Every moment they spend approaching is a moment for our ground batteries to target them. The Vroth vessels waited. Their shields were at full power. Their weapons were charged. Every warrior on every vessel knew what was at stake. The humans did not slow down. They came in a wave of dark metal and terrible purpose. Their formation shifted as they approached, spreading out to present multiple targets, but they did not try to flank or outmaneuver. They simply charged. They are not using tactics. One of Drathak's officers observed. They are just coming straight at us. They do not need tactics. Drathak replied quietly. Their weapons can cut through our shields like they were nothing. Their vessels can take hits that would destroy ours. Why would they bother with tactics when they can simply attack? The first shots were fired. Human weapons reached across space. Those terrible beams of white light struck the Vroth defensive line. Vessels that had survived 100 battles died in seconds. The shields that were supposed to protect them failed almost instantly. The Vroth returned fire. Their weapons were powerful by galactic standards. But against the human shields, they might as well have been throwing stones. In the first minute of battle, the Vroth lost 40 vessels. The humans lost 3. Drathok watched the numbers change. He felt nothing. He had known this would happen. He had tried to tell them back at the beginning. He had said the humans were strange, had said they did not behave like other civilizations. No one had listened. Continue firing, he ordered. For every vessel we destroy, there is one less coming for our people. The battle continued. On her command vessel, Admiral Chen directed the assault with cold precision. She did not feel triumph as Vroth vessels exploded. She did not feel satisfaction as the enemy line crumbled. She felt nothing but the same empty purpose that had driven her since the war began. Enemy fleet is breaking, her tactical officer reported. They are retreating toward the planetary shield. Do not let them reach it. Cut them off. Human vessels surged forward, faster than should have been possible. They intercepted the retreating Vroth, destroying them before they could find shelter behind the shield. In 2 hours the Vroth fleet was gone. 800 warships reduced to debris floating in space. 100,000 Vroth warriors dead. The largest military defeat in galactic history. But the battle was not over. The planetary shield still stood. The ground batteries still fired, sending massive bolts of energy into space. Some human vessels were hit, some fell, but most survived. And they gathered in orbit, looking down at the protected world below. Analysis, Chen demanded. The shield is powerful, Admiral. The most advanced we have ever seen. Our standard weapons cannot penetrate it. Standard weapons. Chen almost smiled. Good thing we have non-standard weapons. She sent orders to the fleet. Certain vessels moved into position. Certain weapons were prepared. Weapons that had not been used yet. Weapons that had been held in reserve for exactly this moment. On the surface, Saraviel watched from her command center. She saw the human vessels arranging themselves. She saw them preparing something new. She did not know what it was. She only knew it would be terrible. "Leader, our shield is holding," an aide reported. "The human weapons cannot break through." "Not yet." "What do you mean?" Saravriel pointed at the display. "Look at them. They are not attacking the shield. They are preparing something. Something they have not shown us before. What could be worse than what we have already seen?" Saravriel had no answer, but she was about to find out. In orbit, the human vessels completed their arrangement. They formed a circle around the planet, evenly spaced. At the center of each vessel, something was powering up. Energy readings that made no sense, frequencies that should not have existed. Admiral Chen's voice came over the communication system. "Vroth, your fleet is destroyed. Your defenses cannot protect you. In 30 seconds we will activate our primary weapon. When we do, your planetary shield will fall, and then we will land ground forces. Those forces will arrest every member of your government. They will dismantle every weapon you have. They will ensure you never threaten anyone again." Saravriel responded immediately. "Wait, please wait. We have not rejected your terms. We can still negotiate. The time for negotiation ended an hour ago. You chose not to accept when you had the chance. Now you will accept because you have no other choice. What about our people? Your ground forces will have to fight through our cities. Millions will die." Chen's voice was ice. "Then you should have thought of that before you burned our cities, before you killed our millions. This is your consequence, not ours." The countdown ended. The human vessels fired, but they did not fire at the shield. They fired at each other. Or rather, they fired through each other. Beams of impossible energy connected each vessel to every other vessel, forming a web of light around the planet. The web began to contract. On the surface, instruments screamed warnings. The planetary shield was not being attacked. It was being erased. The web of human energy passed through it like it did not exist, because to the human weapon, it did not exist. Saravriel understood that the humans had not built weapons to break shields. They had built weapons that made shields meaningless. They had changed the rules of physics itself. "How?" she whispered. "How is this possible?" The planetary shield failed. Not because it was destroyed, because it simply stopped existing. The energy that had powered it vanished. The projectors that had created it went dark. In seconds, 500,000 years of Vroth engineering became worthless. The planet lay exposed. Human vessels descended through the atmosphere, transport vessels carrying soldiers, gunships carrying weapons. They came like rain falling toward every major city, every military base, every government facility. The Vroth ground forces tried to resist. They had millions of warriors, weapons that could destroy buildings. They had been preparing for siege warfare for weeks. It made no difference. The human soldiers were not like anything the Vroth had faced before. They moved with mechanical precision. Their armor absorbed hits that should have killed them. Their weapons cut through Vroth defenses like air. And they showed no mercy. City after city fell. Base after base surrendered. The Vroth warriors, who had never known defeat, threw down their weapons and begged for their lives. The humans took prisoners. They did not torture. They did not massacre. But they were not gentle. They were efficient, cold, unstoppable. In the capital city, Saravriel watched the end of her civilization approach. Her guards had abandoned her. Her advisors had fled. She sat alone in her command center, watching the displays that showed human soldiers moving through her city, moving toward her. She thought about running. She thought about fighting. She thought about taking her own life before they could take her. But in the end she did none of those things. She simply sat and waited. The door opened. Human soldiers entered, weapons raised. "I surrender," Saravriel said. "I offer no resistance. Please do not harm my people." The soldiers did not respond. They simply secured her, bound her hands and led her away. The Battle of Vrothus Prime was over. The Vroth Empire had fallen. The galaxy received the news in silence. On 1,000 worlds, 1,000 civilizations watched the broadcasts. They saw the human vessels circling the conquered planet. They saw the human soldiers marching through Vroth City. They saw the leaders of the mightiest empire in history being led away in chains, and they felt something none of them had expected: fear. The Mallory High Merchant sat in his chamber, staring at the images. His aide stood nearby, equally stunned. "They won," the aide said. "The humans won." "Yes, they did. We should be celebrating. The Vroth oppressed us for 10,000 years. We should be happy they are fallen." "Should we?" The High Merchant's voice was heavy. "The Vroth were cruel. They were arrogant. They hurt many civilizations, but at least we understood them. We knew what they wanted. We knew how they thought." He pointed at the display. What do we know about the humans? What do we understand about them? 1 year ago they were primitives. Now they have conquered the greatest military power in the galaxy. They have technology that should not exist, and they showed no mercy to their enemies. They showed mercy to us, to the other civilizations. Did they, or did they simply not have time to deal with us yet? The aide fell silent. The question hung in the air unanswered. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. Civilizations that had hoped for the Vroth's fall now wondered what would replace them. The humans had proved they could defeat anyone. What would they do with that power? The answer came 3 days later. Admiral Chen stood on the surface of Vrothus Prime, in front of what had once been the Vroth High Council chamber. Human soldiers surrounded her. Cameras broadcast her image to every corner of the galaxy. People of the Conclave, I speak to you as the representative of the Human Defense Force. As you know, we have defeated the Vroth Empire. Their military is destroyed. Their leaders are captured. Their homeworld is under our control. She paused, her eyes scanning the camera. Some of you are wondering what we will do now. Some of you are afraid. You remember how the Vroth used their power. You expect us to do the same. Another pause, longer this time. We will not. A murmur went through the watching galaxy. Humanity did not want this war. We did not want to become what we have become. We were a young civilization just starting to explore the stars. We wanted to make friends. We wanted to learn. We wanted to be part of the galactic community. Chen's voice hardened. The Vroth made that impossible. They attacked us without provocation. They killed millions of our people. They burned our world. They forced us to choose between extinction and transformation. We chose transformation. Now we have won. And now we must decide what kind of civilization we will be. Will we become the new Vroth? Will we use our power to dominate and destroy? Will we make the same mistakes they did? She shook her head slowly. No, we will not. Humanity will not rule the galaxy. We will not demand tribute or submission. We will not attack civilizations that do not threaten us. We will take our place among you as equals, not masters. But hear me clearly, we will also not forget. We will not forget what was done to us. We will not forget the 60 million dead. We will not forget the burning cities and the murdered children. We have become something new, something dangerous, and we will use that danger to protect ourselves and those who need protection. The galaxy watched when we were dying. The galaxy did nothing. We understand why. We do not blame you for being afraid. But we want you to know this. If something like this ever happens again to us or to anyone else, we will not wait for help that never comes. We will act. And our enemies will learn what the Vroth learned. Chen's eyes found the camera directly. Earth remembers. Earth protects its own. And Earth's retaliation, if provoked, will be swift, complete, and without mercy. The broadcast ended. The galaxy absorbed her words. And for the first time in millions of years, the balance of power in the universe shifted. In the detention facility where Vroth leaders were held, Saraviel watched the broadcast. Human guards stood nearby, but they did not interfere. She meant it, Saraviel said to herself. Every word. Yes, a voice replied. Saraviel turned. Admiral Chen stood in the doorway. I wanted to speak with you, Chen said. Before your trial. Why? Because I need to understand. Chen walked closer. Her face was tired. Her eyes were old, far older than her years. Why did you attack us? We had done nothing to you. We posed no threat. Why? Saraviel was quiet for a long moment. Because you did not bow. Because you acted like equals. Because my predecessor, Malachar, believed that any civilization that did not show proper respect had to be punished. That is why he attacked. But what about you? What about the rest of your people? Why did you follow him? Because Saraviel struggled for words. Because that is what we do. That is what we have always done. The Vroth are conquerors. We have conquered for 500,000 years. It is who we are. Was. Who you were. Yes, they looked at each other, two leaders. Two civilizations, two beings who had become something neither wanted to be. I will testify at your trial, Chen said. I will recommend mercy. You did not order the attack on Earth. You tried to end the war. You do not deserve death. Saraviel blinked in surprise. Why would you show me mercy after everything? Because someone has to. Because if we become nothing but vengeance, we lose whatever made us worth saving in the first place. Chen turned to leave. The war is over. Now comes the harder part. Now we have to learn how to live. She walked away, leaving Saraviel alone with her thoughts. Outside, the sun rose over a changed galaxy. The Vroth were defeated. The humans were victorious, and nothing would ever be the same again. But the story was not over, Because true endings are not found in battle. They are found in what comes after, in how the victors choose to use their victory, in whether they learn from the horrors they have witnessed. And that part of the story was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the fall of the Vroth Empire. The galaxy was different now. The old order was gone. The rule of the strong over the weak had ended. In its place was something new, something uncertain, something that was still being built. On Earth, the scars were slowly healing. Cities had been rebuilt, forests had been replanted, the burned lands were green again. But the deeper scars, the ones that could not be seen, remained. Admiral Chen stood on a balcony overlooking what had once been Beijing. The city sparkled with lights in the evening darkness. 7 million people lived here now, more than before the war. People had come from all over Earth to rebuild, to prove that what the Vroth had destroyed could be restored. But Chen knew the truth. The buildings could be rebuilt. The parks could be replanted. The streets could be filled with people again. But the 60 million who had died would never return. The wounds in the hearts of the survivors would never fully close. She was no longer admiral. She had resigned her commission the day after the Vroth surrender. The work of war was done. She had no interest in the work of peace. "You are thinking again," a voice said behind her. Chen turned. Sarah Park, the physicist who had created the weapons that won the war, stood in the doorway. She had become Chen's closest friend in the years since. "I am always thinking." "You are always thinking about the past. About whether we did the right thing." Chen did not deny it. "Did we?" Sarah walked to stand beside her. "We survived. Our civilization survived. Does that not make it right? Survival at any cost. We did not pay any cost. We did not become monsters. We showed mercy when we could. We built a better future than what came before. Did we?" Chen gestured at the city below. "Look at them. The people down there. They are afraid. Not of the Vroth, of us. Of humanity. They know what we did. They know what we are capable of. And they are afraid of themselves." Sarah was quiet for a moment. Fear is not always bad. Sometimes fear keeps us from making terrible mistakes. And sometimes fear makes us into what we fear. They stood in silence, watching the city light. The debate between them was old. They had had it many times. They would probably have it many more. Finally, Sarah spoke again. "There is news from the conclave. The assembly is meeting tomorrow. They want you to attend. I have already refused. I know. They asked me to convince you to change your mind." Chen shook her head. "I have nothing to say to them. I am a soldier, a retired soldier. I have no place in politics. You are a symbol, the symbol of human power. Your presence reminds them of what we can do. It makes them take us serious. Is that what we want? To be taken seriously because they fear us. It is better than being ignored until we are attacked again." Chen could not argue with that. She had made the same argument herself 5 years ago. But she was tired now. Tired of being a symbol. Tired of representing something she was not sure she believed in anymore. "Tell them I will consider it," she said finally. "That is all I can promise." Sarah nodded. "That is enough." The next morning, Chen found herself on a transport heading for the conclave station. Despite her doubts, she had decided to attend. Not because she wanted to, because she felt she had to. The station hung in orbit around a neutral world. It was massive, built to accommodate thousands of representatives from hundreds of civilizations. Before the war, humanity had only had observer status here. Now they had full membership. Now they had a permanent seat on the High Council. Chen entered the assembly chamber. Every civilization in the conclave was represented. She saw Mallory, Trilon, Kesuri, and dozens of others she did not recognize. They all turned to look at her as she entered. She felt their eyes, some curious, some respectful, many afraid. Good. A part of her thought, fear keeps them in line. Another part of her felt sick. She took her seat in the human delegation. Ambassador Martinez, humanity's official representative, sat beside her. "Thank you for coming," he said quietly. "Your presence means a lot. I am just watching. Nothing more." Of course. The assembly began. The first item of business was routine, trade agreements, resource sharing, boring administrative matters that kept the galaxy running. Then came the main topic. Representatives of the conclave. The assembly speaker announced, "We are here to discuss the reconstruction of the former Vroth territories. As you know, the Vroth Empire covered a quarter of the galaxy. Its fall has left many worlds without governance or protection." Chen listened as various civilizations debated. Some wanted to divide the territories among themselves. Some wanted to establish independent governments for each world. Some wanted to create a new administrative system under conclave control. Through it all, Chen noticed something. Every few minutes, someone would glance in her direction. Every proposal was framed in terms of what humanity might accept. Every argument included a reference to human power, or human approval. The galaxy was not debating how to govern the former Vroth territories. They were trying to figure out what the humans wanted. They were afraid to disagree with whatever that was. Finally, Chen stood. The chamber fell instantly silent. "I have listened to your debate," she said, her voice calm and clear. "I have heard your proposals. And I have something to say." Every eye in the chamber was fixed on her. Humanity does not have a preference for how the former Vroth territories are governed. We do not want control of those worlds. We do not want influence over their administration. We want only one thing. She paused, letting the silence build. "We want you to stop being afraid." Confusion rippled through the assembly. This was not what they had expected. For 5 years, the galaxy has been afraid of humanity. You watched us destroy the mightiest empire in history. You saw our weapons, our vessels, our soldiers. You know what we can do, and you are terrified. This fear makes you weak. It makes you unable to think clearly. It makes you look to us for permission before making any decision. This is not healthy. It is not sustainable, and it is not what we want. Humanity has no desire to rule the galaxy. We have no desire to replace the Vroth as tyrants. We fought them because they tried to destroy us. We beat them because we had no other choice. But we are not conquerors. We are not emperors. We are just people who want to live in peace. She looked around the chamber, meeting eyes that quickly looked away. "I know you are afraid of us. I understand why. We became something terrible during the war. We had to. But the war is over. We want to become something else now. Something better. So here is what I ask of you. Stop looking to us for approval. Stop fearing our reaction. Govern yourselves. Make your own decision. Build a galaxy where every civilization has a voice, where the strong do not crush the weak, where peace is the rule rather than the exception. If you do this, humanity will be your partner, your friend, your ally. We will work with you to build something new, something good. But if you cannot let go of your fear, if you continue to treat us as masters to be obeyed, then we will have failed, not just humanity, all of us. The war will have destroyed more than lives and cities. It will have destroyed our ability to trust each other." She paused, collecting herself. 5 years ago, I led the fleet that conquered the Vroth. I gave orders that killed millions. I did what I had to do. But I take no pride in it. I wish every day that it had not been necessary. Now I am asking you to help me make sure it never happens again. Not to us. Not to anyone. Help me build a galaxy where civilizations like the Vroth cannot rise to power, where attacks like the one we suffered cannot happen, where no one has to become what we became. That is all I have to say. She sat down. The chamber remained silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Then slowly the Mallory representative stood. "Admiral Chen," he said, "my civilization has been part of the conclave for 100,000 years. We have seen empires rise and fall. We have seen countless civilizations make promises of peace and break them. But I have never seen anyone speak as you have spoken. I have never seen a representative of a powerful civilization ask us not to fear them. I have never seen anyone try to give up power rather than take more." He bowed deeply, a gesture of respect among his people. "You have given us much to think about. I cannot speak for the entire conclave, but I can speak for the Mallory. We accept your offer of partnership. We will work with you to build the galaxy you describe, and we will try to let go of our fear." One by one, other representatives stood. Some made similar statements. Others remained silent, but the mood in the chamber had changed. The fear was not gone. It would take years to fade, but something new had entered, something that might, in time, become trust. After the assembly, Chen walked through the station alone. She found an observation window and stood looking out at the stars. So many stars, so many worlds, so many civilizations. "You did well." She turned. Ambassador Martinez had followed her. "Did I?" "You did. You gave them hope. You gave them a reason to believe we are not just monsters." "I spoke the truth. That is all. Sometimes that is enough." They stood together, looking at the universe. "What happens now?" Chen asked. "Now we do the hard work. We build relationships. We solve problems. We prove that our words are not empty. It will take years, decades, maybe centuries, but it can be done, if we do not lose our way. Yes, if we do not lose our way." Chen thought about that, about all the ways they could fail, about how easy it would be to become the thing they had destroyed. Power corrupted. History proved that over and over. Why would humanity be any different? But then she thought about Earth, about the people rebuilding. About the children being born who would never know what it was like to live under the shadow of war. About the scientists working on new technologies, not weapons now, but medicine and energy and transportation. She thought about Sarah Park, who had created weapons that could destroy planets but who now spent her days teaching physics to young students. She thought about the 60 million dead. They could not be brought back, but they could be honored by building the kind of future they would have wanted. We can do this, Chen said finally. We have to believe we can do this. We can, Martinez agreed. Together. On Earth. Evening came. The cities glowed with light. The farms stretched green across the healed land. The sky was clear, filled with stars that humanity now traveled among. In schools, children learned history. They learned about the war, about the terrible price humanity paid, about the retaliation that shook the galaxy. They learned about the 60 million who died and the billions who survived to build a new world. They learned the lesson that Earth would never forget. Never attack first. Always seek peace. Protect the innocent. Build bridges instead of weapons when possible. But also this: if someone threatens your home, if someone kills your people, if someone tries to destroy everything you love, you have the right to fight back. You have the right to survive. And if survival requires becoming something terrible, then become it, because the alternative is extinction. This was humanity's legacy. This was what the war had taught them. This was what they would carry forward into whatever future awaited them. The galaxy had watched Earth's retaliation with horror, with fear, with awe. Now it watched humanity's recovery with curiosity, with hope, with cautious optimism. And deep in the darkness between stars, other civilizations observed. Civilizations that had not yet made contact. Civilizations that had been considering whether to emerge, whether to make themselves known to the galaxy. They watched what humanity had done. They watched what humanity was becoming, and they made their decisions. Some decided to stay hidden. The humans were too dangerous, better to remain in the shadows, but others decided differently. If humanity could go from primitive to powerful in one generation, if they could defeat the unconquerable and then choose mercy over domination, then perhaps this galaxy had room for more than the strong ruling the weak. Perhaps there was a new path, a better path. Perhaps the galaxy was changing, and at the center of that change, a small blue planet orbited a yellow star, a planet that had nearly been destroyed, a planet whose people had been tested and transformed and tempered in fire. Earth, humanity's home, the place where everything began, and everything ended, and everything began again. The planet hung in space, beautiful and fragile and utterly unforgiving to any who might threaten it, and the galaxy looked upon it with new eyes, not fear alone anymore, not hatred or contempt, something else now: respect. Because Earth had shown them the truth. The weak were not always weak. The strong were not always strong, and those who underestimated their enemies learned terrible lessons. The galaxy stood in stillness, watching Earth's light shine among the stars, wondering what would come next, hoping for peace, preparing for anything, and humanity looked back at them, ready for whatever the future would bring. The war was over. The story continued, and somewhere in the vastness of space, on a vessel traveling toward distant stars, a human child looked out a window at the galaxy before her. She was young, born after the war, knowing it only from stories. "What is out there?" she asked her mother. Her mother smiled. "Every worlds we have not seen, civilizations we have not met, adventures we cannot imagine. Is it dangerous? Sometimes, but we will be careful. And if something threatens us, we will protect each other like we did in the war. Like we did in the war, but hopefully not like that again. Hopefully we are building something better." The child thought about this, then she smiled. "I want to see it all." Her mother hugged her. "You will. Someday you." And the vessel carried them forward into the unknown, into the future, into whatever destiny awaited. Because that was what humanity did. They survived, they adapted, they grew, and they never ever forgot. The story of Earth's retaliation was written in the stars. A warning, a promise, a reminder, and the galaxy would remember it forever.